Welcome to the Crazy Chicken People podcast. If you're crazy about chickens, then you're in the right place. Hey everybody, thank you for joining me again today. Appreciate it. I'm very excited to tell you that I am joined by two special guests, Linda Waller and Wendee Miller from Hatching at Home. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it, and I'm really excited to hear about the program that you guys are doing. Wendee, would you like to start?
Okay, so I am the owner of Feather Baby Farm, and it kind of just accidentally happened. My kids were little, and I thought, wouldn't this be fun to get a couple chicks, and the kids will love it. And I soon found out the kids lost interest, and I fell in love. So it just very accidentally happened that I became Feather Baby Farm, and that's what I do now full time. And my Feather Baby Farm business is how I ended up meeting my business partner, Linda.
I didn't know you guys met through doing this. That's cool.
Yeah, we did. It was purely by accident again. But yeah, Linda, and she could probably tell the story because she was looking for eggs and she found me and connected with me. And it was the craziest thing because I am not a person that does things on a whim at all. And she showed up at my house to buy some eggs, and we were standing at my gate. And about 30 minutes later, she's asking me to go into business with her. So it was crazy. I'm like, who is this crazy lady asking me this? And I think it was that night I called her back and said, let's do this.
Wow, that is a cool start to you guys getting things kicked off. And Linda, what do you have going on outside of the Hatching from Home program that led you to Wendee and looking for hatching eggs?
I have Gully Rumpus Farm in Rio Linda, California. It's about 2.5 acres, and I raise Coturnix quail and American white breast chickens. And in addition to that, I also am involved with Quail University. It's an online learning platform for people who want to raise Coturnix quail for meat and eggs. And I do Hatching at Home. I'm a partner with Wendee. And I had started Hatching at Home myself, and I didn't have chickens at the time who were laying eggs. And so I was buying eggs from other people. And I wasn't really happy with the fertility rate and the hatch rate, and I needed to find somebody better. So I found Wendee online, Feather Baby Farm, and called her up, made a purchase. And as I was driving out and I was trying to read these directions and going up this windy hill and thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm driving way far away and spending way more money than I've ever spent on hatching eggs. Is this what I need to be doing? I was really questioning myself, and literally a voice in my head said, just wait. And I'm like, that's weird. And met Wendee and we talked and really hit it off. And like she said, by the time I got home, she called me again and said, let's do this. Let's go into business together. And that spontaneous decision was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, because not only did I get the perfect partner for the business, but I also got a great friend out of it.
Yes.
And I'm glad I didn't turn around.
Me too. I'm super glad you didn't turn around.
That is so cool. I mean, to run into somebody who you just happen to find online to go get eggs from, and then, and how many years ago was that?
It's
2 years.
2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it's not something I tell people to do. Like, don't go start a business with somebody you don't even know.
I know. I always go, oh my gosh, what were we thinking? But it turned out amazing. And I couldn't be happier that she listened to the little voice in her head.
Yep.
So you guys are doing Hatching at Home together, and we'll definitely get into that. But is there any other aspects of your guys' businesses that you were both already kind of running individually that you're also now doing together? Or is it mostly the Hatching at Home?
Yeah, I was going to say we are business partners together for Hatching at Home, but it's a beautiful, beautiful marriage between her company, my company, and how we can work together. Just because, we can help each other out and support each other and refer each other.
Yeah. So to give you an example of that, if we get somebody through Hatching at Home who only wants hatching eggs, then, I'll send them to Wendee if they live near her, or she'll send them to me if they want American white breast chickens. And she gets calls, maybe somebody's looking for quail, she'll send them to me. Another thing that we do together, it's kind of grown out of the Hatching at Home program. When we send out hatching eggs to a family or to a teacher, we tell them you can return the chicks to us, but later, if you get roosters, we'll take those roosters back. And because we offered that through the program, Wendee was able to tell just her regular chicken customers that if you get a rooster, then we'll take that rooster back. So that's been another way that we're working together kind of outside of Hatching at Home, but it complements it.
There's so many new chicken owners over the past year. Most of them, I think, are not ready to, or probably don't even really want to keep roosters around just because they think they're not ready, or maybe they have some misconception of what it's like to live with a rooster or have a rooster. But I would imagine that makes it a little bit easier for people to jump into something like that. I think they get 8 hatching eggs when they do the hatching at home. Is that right?
7. They get
Oh,
7 chicken,
7, okay.
yeah, and 12 quail, correct.
Well, of those 7 eggs, I mean, it's pretty likely they're going to get some roosters. So, otherwise, maybe people wouldn't want to take that on. But knowing that they can give all of them back or just the roosters back makes it a little bit easier for people to try it.
Yeah, it's a tremendous benefit to the program. I think that there's so many people that wouldn't be able to do it otherwise because there's a lot of challenges. A lot of people live in the city or they have rules you can't have roosters. And so it does make people who wouldn't be able to just go do the chicken thing without the assurance that they could do it without roosters.
It's funny. I told my husband the other day, we need to put a box of Kleenex on the driveway. Because when people hatch these little chicks and the kids get close to them, they name them, they carry them around, and then they discover that it's a rooster, and there's just a lot of tears shed in the driveway, and it's difficult for them to give them up. And I think for most of the people who are bringing them back, it's because they can't keep a rooster in their backyard because of county or city laws and regulations. So It's a very emotional experience for them. But, it is way better for them to have a place for those roosters to go than to try to figure it out on their own. A lot of people, when they want to find a home for a rooster and they go on Craigslist, they don't know the people who are buying from them. They don't know what's going to happen to the bird, so it's easier for them to return those roosters to somebody that they trust and to a place they know is going to treat them with love and kindness.
Yeah, and Linda and I work together to rehome the roosters, and we have a really good track record of being able to find good, loving pet homes for them.
And that's because Wendee is such a great breeder.
Thank you.
Her chickens are very highly prized, so we can find homes for most of them.
I can confirm that. Yeah, I would not give away any roosters that came from any of the chicks that I got from Wendee, for sure.
You guys are sweet.
So to back up just a little bit, give us a little bit of a story on what exactly is Hatching from Home. How did you get into it? How did that all get started?
Well, back in 2015, 2016 in Sacramento, I had a company called Rented Chicken Sacramento, and we would take a coop and 3 hens and deliver them to people who wanted to try chicken keeping. And it was a 3-month rental. And at the end of the 3 months, they could return the coop and the hens, or they could purchase the coop and keep their hens. So through that program, we were working with some schools, and I decided to start the hatching program to give kids an opportunity to hatch in a classroom setting. And then we moved on to a houseboat, so it made it very difficult to have chickens. And so we stopped doing the rented chicken. And when we moved back to land later, I started again primarily with the quail, but wanted to give people the opportunity to hatch chickens as well. But Wendee, do you want to tell about the rest of the program?
Yeah, so that's kind of where the story of Linda and I meeting is. She started back up her hatching program, but she didn't have the chicken option and wanted it. She found me. And then that was just a great partnership because she has the quail available and I have the chickens. And so now what we're able to offer is Hatching at Home. And it's a program where it's a 4-week rental. And teachers, families, really anybody can place their order on our website, hatchingathome.com, and they get 7 chicken eggs or 12 quail eggs to hatch. And it comes with all the equipment that you need. You don't need a single thing, and you don't need a single bit of knowledge to be able to do this successfully. It comes with the incubator, the candler, the eggs, a hatching guide that will answer all of your questions and hold your hand the whole way. It comes with a really, really well done curriculum that Linda put together. She's a credentialed teacher, and she did just an amazing job on this 58-page curriculum, super engaging. And it comes with everything that you'll need to care for the chicks for the week after they hatch. So the first 3 weeks of the program is hatching the eggs and learning about what's going on in the eggs and candling and watching the babies inside the egg, and it's super cool. And then once the babies hatch, you have a brooder box, a heat plate, water containers, and the food and the bedding. So everything you need to take care of those chicks for that week. Then at the end of the 4 weeks, you can return all the equipment, keep all the chicks, or you can return all the chicks at that time if you were just looking for the experience of hatching, and then return any roosters if you need to.
So, because I would imagine a lot of the people that are renting these are almost certainly first-time hatchers.
Yes.
So they're kind of like following along what's going on inside that egg, and like day 3, it's going to look like this, and they're actually learning about the whole process when they do it.
Yeah, it's an incredibly educational experience as well. And I'll let Linda take this part because it does have that educational component, and it has a huge support component. Linda, if you want to explain that part of the support of our program, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah. So on the day you pick up your hatching kits, you get an email from us that has a link to a video that explains exactly how to set up your incubator. And then on all of the important days, you're going to get another email, like on candling day, showing you how to do it. And then on lockdown, on hatching day, after hatching day to set up your brooder and to make sure those chicks are healthy and happy. And in addition, on all of those days, you get a text from me and checking in, just saying, hey, how many chicks did you see developing in your eggs? And did everything go okay on lockdown? So we're there in email, in texting, and then on hatching day, we usually have a conversation about when to move the chicks from the incubator into the brooder, because that's a little bit of a tricky decision sometimes. And so we help people through that. And then we support them afterwards with learning about how to care for their chicks and keeping them happy and healthy. And it goes right along with the curriculum. So the hatching guide is really for the adults, and that level of support is for the adults, for the teacher, for the parent, for the homeschooling parent. In the curriculum, the kids are following along and learning biology. They have language arts activities that go along with, writing and reading about what's happening with the chick development. And, there's also an emotional component to that. So we have them make a paper chain, and they can take off a link in that chain to help them learn to be patient as they wait for their babies to hatch. And one of the interesting things about this experience is that it really does teach kids, it kind of gives them their first introduction to life and death, because not every egg is going to develop, and not every egg that develops is going to hatch. So they learn that there's some things that they can control. They can control the humidity and the temperature, but there's just sometimes those little lives don't make it. And so in the curriculum, we make sure that we included books you can read with kids to kind of help them deal with those. Sometimes there's a chick that tries hatching and it doesn't make it all the way. But I think it's a really valuable lesson. Life is fragile, and it can't be taken for granted.
Yeah, hatching is a very emotional experience. I mean, it's not like I sit there and cry every time, I see an egg that was peeping, but, didn't hatch. But it's sad. It's sad. You know that there was a little chick in there. And
yeah, it can be hard, but there's just so many facets of learning with this program. There is, like Linda was saying, the patience. When those babies come out and they're little cute fluff balls, and the kids are so excited, but they need to learn how to handle them properly and to respect how fragile they are. And it's just awesome.
The biggest part of the program is the wonder and awe of watching new life emerge, and just seeing how much that chick has to struggle to get out, and just feeling so happy for it when it finally emerges. It is miraculous. Every time I've hatched hundreds of chicks. Wendee, you've probably hatched thousands of chicks.
Multi-thousands of chicks. It never gets old.
And we have had families that have rented from us They were crying when they returned their chicks, but this time from happiness. They said, we were going through a really tough time, and having this to focus on, waiting for the chicks to come out and then watching them emerge, it just gave them a purpose at a time that was very difficult for them. And they just really, really appreciated it. It's really fun to see the good that this program does. It is just amazing.
Yeah. I was just going to tell about the little girl who had a fear of animals.
Mhm.
And go ahead, because you saw her after. And so go ahead and tell that story.
All right. Yeah, her parents, they really saved up to do our program. And they had a little girl who was 6 years old, completely terrified of animals, like to the point where she would shake and was just completely terrified. And they knew that that was going to be a problem unless they helped her deal with it as a young child. So they came here. They held a chick with her, and they really, both mom and dad, just kind of wrapped her in their arms, and they, held the chick and kind of let her pet it. You could tell that this was not a comfortable experience for her. So they went through the program, they hatched out, they had a really good hatch rate. And her mom called me a few days after their hatch and just said, Linda, she went from being terrified that those little chicks would hurt her to learning how to care for them and realizing that they were fragile and that they needed care. And she's really interacting well with them and helped her get over that fear. Experiences like that just make it so rewarding to offer this kind of program to families and to teachers.
Yeah, then they sent us a picture of her with this big smile on her face, holding the little chick in her hands. It was just heartwarming.
Yeah.
I bet that's a great story. I mean, you just made a permanent change in somebody's life, and to know that you played a part in that by way of an animal that you love too, that's so cool.
Yeah, like Linda said, this business is pure joy.
I would think it doesn't feel a whole lot like work. I mean, I joke with my boss, like, if anyone will ever pay me the same that you pay me to stay home and take care of my chickens, like, I'm gonna quit. But so the hatching at home, you are renting out to schools. Are you seeing a lot of customers come just privately also, just families like the family of the little girl you just mentioned?
Yeah, we do. A lot of homeschool families, a lot of public school families, and then just families who've heard about us. We have been on the news a couple of times, and we've had a few articles printed about our program. So we do have people outside of school connections that contact us. And then especially we have a lot of referral business because people will do it. They have so much fun with it and they can't help but talk about it. We get a lot of referral business that way.
Would you say it's more common that people are keeping the chickens or, at least the hens and eventually bringing back the roosters? Or
last year we had some chicks returned. How many sets have we gotten returned this year? Maybe one?
Almost none. Like everyone's keeping their chickens now. Actually, I think that whole mentality started with COVID. Then this year we had the whole egg price spike. And so, yeah, we have had very, very few chickens returned this year.
That's awesome. It's funny you mentioned that spike that there was in egg prices and everybody went out and got a ton of chicks. I think by the time all those chicks are the point that they're laying, I think egg prices have gone back down.
And not only that, but you have to care for the chicken and feed the chicken for 6 months before you get your first free egg.
Yeah.
So the price in the grocery store is much less expensive, but it's not about that. Especially it's not about that for me. I mean, keeping chickens, as you know, there's so much joy just having them and they're my pets.
And a lot of our families are those people who want chickens as pets. And instead of going to pick up their chicks at a feed store, they can actually watch their chicks hatch. How wonderful to be able to bond with that little pet as soon as it emerges into life.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I agree. I love all my chickens, but the ones that have hatched here, and especially the ones that hatched here from eggs that came from chickens I already had, I mean, I feel like their parent. I mean,
you're a grandpa.
Yeah, that's more than even just a pet. Like those birds are so special to me.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny because I get a lot of pictures and texts and videos of my chickens, once they're grown up, and the families stay in contact with me and they send me pictures, and it's like, oh, it's always so amazing to see my babies all grown up. And
And
Yep.
you mentioned hatching being a very emotional experience. And with Hatching at Home, Wendee and I are there to share that emotional experience. And so I don't know, it's been 2 years and we're still getting pictures from some of our original customers who kept their chickens. We're like part of their chicken family now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the hatching is a 21-day thing, and then, those first few weeks of them being babies, but it sounds like you're staying in touch with people for months or even years past that and forming real, like, strong relationships with them.
Yep.
Yep. Our very first customer that Wendee and I had together, in fact, she just contacted me a few days ago and said, my twins are old enough now to appreciate this experience. Let's do this again. It's fun to be a part of that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I would imagine there's been some difficult times too in helping people work through this.
There's been a few, not very many, but a few times when we've had to, had that kind of situation where the joints are twisted and there's just, nothing that the family can do to help with that situation. And so we make sure that we rent to people that are close enough to where we can go and pick up a chick if that happens. We had a teacher who hatched some quail recently, and there were 2 of her quail chicks that were born with splay leg. And my husband and I went and picked them up. I didn't have much hope for them. I put them in the brooder, put tape on one of them. This was funny because as I was taking those chicks out of the classroom, the kids each wanted to touch them on the head and say goodbye to them. And all of the kids filed by. It was like they were blessing these chicks. The next morning, I yelled, Bobby, come here. You'll have to see this. They were running around the brooder. I'd never seen that happen before, but I just think it was the love of those kids. And so they got to go back to the classroom the next day.
Yeah, it was crazy when Linda called me to tell me that. I was like, what are you talking about? Because this doesn't happen. That was crazy. So to further that point, when Linda and I first started making the boundaries of this business and talking about what we're going to do and who we're going to provide to, it was very important for us to make this program such that we could be there to support all of our customers. Thank goodness, because it does work out where Linda can drive by, grab the chicks, and then when they're great, she drives by and brings them back. That was one of the important things for us. Super strong support to our customers.
And because of that, because Wendee and I will never go outside of the greater Sacramento area, and because we have so much fun with this business, we did create an online class to help other people who might be interested in starting a program like this, a hatching rental program in their own area. And that's so rewarding to us.
Yeah, and because this program is so amazing, Linda and I were like, how can we do this? What can we do to share this joy in more places? And then we came up with the Hatching at Home business class, and now we have people across the country doing this program with us.
And they share their stories with us about their hatching experiences, and it's fabulous.
That's amazing. I mean, so initially you guys were actually willing to sacrifice a little bit on the business end of it, right? Just so that you could, stay true to what you actually started wanting to do. And then, like the way life seems to go, when you do choose the right thing early on, it usually pays off down the road. And it sounds like for you guys, that was it developing into actually spreading the business itself to others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it couldn't have worked out better because we love what we do. Just on the Hatching at Home, we love to share that experience with other people. And then we have so much fun together doing the business. To watch our little program start budding up all over the place it's wonderful.
Wendee can't help herself. She talks so joyfully about the hatching program that when she had jury duty, she sold a hatching kit to one of the fellow jurors.
Oh my gosh. No, it's something. But it's so true. When you love something as much as I love this program, you literally just can't help but talk about it, right? And so you have breaks during jury duty, and people are like, what do you do? Or what's your job? I tell them all about it. And because it's so amazing, of course people are going to be interested, right? It was really funny.
It's like the last place I would ever imagine somebody to like, hey, so you want to have some eggs? Like,
I know.
One of the unintended consequences of us doing this hatching program is that I'm now a Sacramento Kings fan. We got an email. We both were convinced that it wasn't real from somebody who said, I represent an all-star NBA player who wants to do your hatching program. Can you please contact us? And we're like,
Yeah, right.
It was real. We set the family up with a hatching kit, and during the NBA playoffs, they were hatching chicks.
Well, that's cool. I mean, you guys are making a difference in people's lives simply by delivering these eggs and these kits that you're putting together with all the support that you offer. It must be pretty successful for people.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we have a lot of people that shy away from it. You don't have to have any prior experience or knowledge because we make it that step by step easy. And so between the two of us, I think we have covered everything. We have texts and we have videos and emails and we have phone calls. So it's set to service just about anybody.
So when somebody hears this and they're like, I need to check this out, where can they go to find you guys and your Hatching from Home program?
Our website is hatchingathome.com. There's pages of what our program's about and lots of info. And you actually can place an order right on there or just contact Linda or myself from the website to answer any questions.
And there's a link, classes page there too, that where you can find out more about starting your own hatching rental business as well.
Your guys' page was really good. I did check out like the whole thing, front to back and all the links and everything. You guys did a really nice job setting that up. But beyond your Hatching from Home page, you guys each have Facebook pages for your business as well that people can look at?
We do have Hatching at Home Facebook page and Instagram, and it's just Hatching at Home.
Okay.
My farm website is gullyrumpus.com, and then Quail University is quailuniversity.com.
Both of your guys' pages. I mean, you guys are both super positive and willing to share so much great information. That's cool. And I appreciate you guys coming on with me today too. It's been great.
Thank you. It was great being here. We love to talk about chickens, so it was super fun.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that time with Wendee and Linda learning about their Hatching from Home program. If you or anybody that you know is interested in it, I would definitely recommend checking out their webpage. And if you're interested in some of the other chickens that they raise, they both have really great farm pages as well. I'll make sure to add links to all those sites in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.